The sky was clear, blue open, ordinary. It was the kind of morning that promises nothing unusual: birds tracing invisible paths overhead, merchants opening wooden shutters, children running through dusty streets, conversations blending into the soft rhythm of daily life. The sun stood high and confident, casting sharp shadows along rooftops and fields. And then, without warning, the light began to fade. Not like a sunset, not gradual, not poetic. It dimmed as if someone, somewhere, had placed a hand over the sky. Within minutes, noon transformed into twilight. Candles were lit, animals retreated, the air cooled, and a single terrifying thought began spreading from mind to mind. The sun had vanished on May 19, 1780. Something like this truly happened. It would later be remembered as the Dark Day of New England. Historical records describe how, in the middle of the morning, the sky over parts of the northeastern United States turned unnaturally dark. By noon, it was so black that candles were required indoors. Farmers abandoned their fields. Church congregations gathered in prayer. Some believed Judgment Day had arrived. Legislators in Connecticut reportedly debated whether to adjourn, fearing the end of the world. Yet what makes this event so haunting is that it was not legend. It was documented in diaries, newspapers, and government archives. Witness accounts describe a silence that felt wrong. Birds stopped singing and returned to their nests. Chickens went to roost as if night had fallen. Cows moved toward barns. The temperature dropped slightly, but enough to be noticed. The darkness was not pitch black everywhere. In some areas it appeared as a deep brownish haze, like smoke thickening the air. By evening, when the moon rose, it appeared reddish, almost blood-colored. For those who lived through it, this was not simply a strange weather event. It was a rupture in the predictable order of the cosmos. So what happened? Modern scientific analysis suggests that massive forest fires in what is now Canada likely produced enormous quantities of smoke. Combined with thick cloud cover and fog, the atmosphere became a layered filter, blocking and scattering sunlight to an extreme degree. Tree ring evidence and historical fire patterns support this explanation. What people interpreted as the sun disappearing was, in reality, an atmospheric phenomenon, sunlight still present above the smoke, but unable to fully penetrate to the surface. The star itself remained unchanged. The illusion was powerful, but the physics was earthly. This was not the only time humanity felt abandoned by daylight. In 1816, known as the Year Without a Summer, global temperatures dropped after the eruption of Mount Tambora in Indonesia. Ash and sulfur dioxide injected into the stratosphere reflected sunlight worldwide. Crops failed. Snow fell in June in parts of North America and Europe. Skies often appeared hazy and dim. Though not total darkness, the muted sun created a psychological weight across continents. Once again, the source was terrestrial, volcanic aerosols altering atmospheric transparency. Solar eclipses have also triggered profound fear throughout history. A total solar eclipse can turn midday into an eerie dusk within minutes. Shadows sharpen, the temperature falls, wind patterns shift, birds grow quiet. For ancient civilizations without astronomical knowledge, such moments felt supernatural. In 585 BCE, a solar eclipse reportedly halted a battle between the Medes and the Lydians, interpreted as a divine sign. Unlike smoke or volcanic ash, an eclipse is a precise cosmic alignment, the moon temporarily blocking sunlight. Predictable today, terrifying in the past. There are also dust storms, immense walls of airborne particles capable of darkening cities. During the 1930s Dust Bowl in the United States, towering black clouds rolled across plains, turning day into night. Photographs show headlights piercing through swirling soil at noon. Residents describe breathing difficulties, static electricity crackling in the air, and an oppressive gloom that lingered for hours. Again, the sun had not vanished. The atmosphere had become a barrier between humanity and its star. Modern science now distinguishes clearly between atmospheric dimming and stellar disappearance. The sun cannot simply switch off without catastrophic physical processes that would unfold over astronomical timescale. It is a stable main sequence star, fusing hydrogen into helium in its core. If the sun were to truly stop shining, nuclear fusion would cease, an event incompatible with known stellar physics without prior warning signs lasting millions of years. What humans have experienced historically is not the extinction of the sun, but the filtering of its light. Yet the question lingers, what if the sun actually disappeared for hours? Within seconds, Earth would plunge into darkness. After 8 minutes, the time sunlight takes to reach us, the absence would become absolute. Temperatures would begin to drop gradually, not instantly freezing, but steadily declining. Photosynthesis would halt immediately, solar-powered systems would fail. Within days, surface temperatures would plummet below freezing in many regions. Within weeks, oceans would begin forming surface ice layers. Civilization, built on predictable solar cycles, would face cascading collapse. Importantly, gravity would also vanish after those same 8 minutes if the sun itself physically disappeared, sending Earth drifting in a straight line through space. This scenario is purely hypothetical and violates known conservation laws, but it illustrates a key distinction. Atmospheric darkness is a surface illusion. Stellar disappearance is cosmic catastrophe. History has only recorded the former, When we examine events like the dark day of 1780, the year without a summer, or dramatic eclipses, a pattern emerges. The sun never left. Our atmosphere fragile, dynamic, and easily altered shape perception. Layers of smoke, ash, dust, or celestial alignment created temporary night. And yet the emotional response was real. Fear was real. The silence, the cooling air, the confused animals, all authentic reactions to a sudden break in expectation. Imagine standing in an open field at noon and watching your shadow dissolve into darkness, hearing birds retreat, feeling the temperature slide downward, seeing neighbors light candles with shaking hands. In that moment, knowledge would matter. Understanding the mechanism would calm the mind. But without explanation, the mind fills the void with myth. Throughout history, darkness has always carried meaning beyond physics. Today, satellites monitor solar output continuously. Atmospheric sensors track aerosols and smoke plumes in real time. Volcanic eruptions are mapped globally. Eclipses are predicted centuries in advance. We are no longer at the mercy of pure uncertainty. Yet, even with knowledge, the emotional power of sudden darkness remains. When wildfire smoke blankets a modern city and turns the sun deep orange at midday, people still pause. Photos circulate. Conversations shift. The ancient instinct awakens. The day the sun disappeared was never about the star itself. It was about perception, about how thin the boundary is between stability and chaos. Our civilization depends entirely on a steady flow of solar energy. Agriculture, climate systems, renewable power, biological rhythms, all anchored to that distant fusion reactor 150 million kilometers away. And while the sun is astronomically stable, our local environment is not. Perhaps the most unsettling realization is this: it does not take the end of the sun to unsettle humanity. It only takes a veil of smoke, a curtain of ash, a momentary alignment. The illusion of absence is enough to shake confidence in permanence. The dark day of 1780 ended by the following morning. The sun rose again, unchanged. Life resumed. But for those who witnessed it, the memory endured as proof that even daylight, the most reliable constant, can feel fragile. Every sunrise we witness is the continuation of a process billions of years in motion. And every time clouds gather thick enough to dim the sky, we are reminded that our experience of reality depends not only on cosmic stability, but on atmospheric transparency. The sun does not need to vanish to teach humility. It only needs to hide briefly behind the shifting layers of our own world. Even today, in the age of satellites and supercomputers, moments of unnatural darkness can still occur. In recent years, massive wildfire, smoke clouds drifting across continents have turned midday skies into dim orange twilight in cities thousands of kilometers away from the flames. People step outside and instinctively look upward, confused by the color of the light and the strange quiet that often follows. Streetlights turn on in the middle of the afternoon, shadows soften and fade. The world feels suspended, almost paused. These modern experiences echo what people centuries ago described in their journals during events like the Dark Day. The difference now is that scientists can trace the particles in the air, measure their density, and simulate how they scatter sunlight. Yet emotionally, the experience remains unsettling because the sudden loss of daylight interrupts one of the most deeply ingrained patterns of human existence. What these events ultimately reveal is how dependent life on Earth truly is on a star we rarely think about. Every forest, every ocean current, every breath of oxygen in the atmosphere traces back to the continuous energy pouring from the sun. Plants convert it into food. Weather systems distribute its heat across the planet. Entire ecosystems rise and fall according to its cycles. When that flow of light appears to falter even temporarily, it exposes how delicate the balance really is. Our cities may glow with electricity, but that electricity exists only because sunlight drives the planetary systems that sustain civilization. In a way, the illusion of the sun disappearing serves as a reminder. The foundation of life is not technology, but the steady light of a distant star. And perhaps that is the most powerful lesson hidden within these strange historical days of darkness. The sun itself did not fail. Nature simply rearranged the filters between us and its light. Smoke, ash, dust, clouds, and celestial alignment briefly reshaped the sky and changed how humans perceived reality. But those moments forced entire communities to confront a terrifying possibility: what if the light did not return? For a few hours in history, humanity experienced what felt like the edge of cosmic uncertainty. And when the morning finally came and the sky brightened again, the ordinary sunlight felt extraordinary. So the next time the sky darkens unexpectedly, or wildfire smoke turns the sun into a dim red disk in the afternoon sky, remember this: you are witnessing the same fragile interplay between atmosphere and sunlight that once convinced entire populations that the world might be ending. The star at the center of our solar system remains constant, burning with unimaginable power. Yet our experience of it can change in minutes. The day the sun disappeared was not the end of the world, but it was a rare moment when humanity glimpsed how dependent we truly are on the light above us. If you enjoy exploring mysterious events where history, science, and the unknown collide, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss the next story. And if this video made you imagine what it would feel like to watch the sky suddenly go dark in the middle of the day, Leave a comment below and share where you would be if that moment happened right now. Because sometimes, the most fascinating mysteries are not hidden in distant galaxies, they are written in the sky above us.